But I want to roll out a little anomaly that I noticed over the past week. I see, just came in today, apparently Apple has now released iOS 9.3.1, which would fix the problem I was having with my iPhone. And of course, I was not alone. It is now day 6. So 6 days after this started. Of course, we had Easter, and why would anyone work on Easter?
No.
And I was right, actually. I was right about the shared web credentials, and it turns out, well, the actual technical reason is not that interesting because it's obfuscating something else, because there was an issue with the iOS 9.3 release initially. If you probably saw, it was this more than a week before my problem started. They issued it. It then, quote unquote, bricked older iPhones. They pulled it back and reissued it. And there was something different about this.
Okay.
As you recall, this affected older devices. And what would happen was you would install, the install would start, and then it would say you need your iCloud credentials. And for whatever reason, that broke a lot of people's installs. So Apple took it back. Then they re-released it. Now, even though it was 9.3, the last few numbers of the release were the same. It was 2, 3. Actually, strangely enough, I think it was 3, 3 at the end for those older phones. And then people could unbrick their phones, and so it was iPad 2s, and here it comes, iPhone 5. And they could restore them with the new update without being signed by Apple, but being signed or authenticated by your iCloud login. And this was just quickly, they put it out, people could fix it only for those devices, and it didn't really adhere to my problem, or there were no other devices that were bricked. What's interesting is the next day, the FBI says, yeah, we don't need Apple. We're all good. It's all fine. We're in. And I don't know 100.
So you're adding 2 and 2.
I am. I'm saying Apple released something specifically for iPhone 5, iPad 2, and it didn't work. And then they re-released it. And instead of Apple signing the update, if you had iCloud credentials, which we know the FBI has the iCloud credentials because they reset them, it is not, as far as I understand, not dependent on the device to have the same password. You could override that for this one time, for this one released. Boom. Collaborators.
Holy crap.
Shave their heads, I tell you.
I've never heard, even thought of what you just said, and being part of the solution to that other issue they were having.
And a lot of people are going to say, no, and it's fine. I'm just saying.
You're going to say that anyway.
The timing of this.
With that voice, by the way.
The timing of this is very, very suspicious. And so where is...
So do you think they're bringing these crazy Israeli? By the way, I think it's an insult that they supposedly brought these crazy unknown Israelis. Actually, their company's been named.
Oh, they've done a lot of work for the services in the States. This is an unknown firm.
We have no good techies here that can do this domestically.
I guess not.
We're just a bunch of schmucks. Got to bring in those sharp Israelis.
Yeah. But maybe they had nothing. Maybe the Israelis didn't help at all. I'm just saying.
My guess.
Apple had an issue. It bricked people's phones. And it was specifically iPhone 5, iPad 2. They re-release. People are able to fix their phones because they were, as far as I understand, they were authenticating it this time, not by the Apple key, but because they were bricked. This is what I'm understanding, and people have also at least partially confirmed completely confirmed their suspicions. People are much smarter than me. And then they pull it back, and then the most recent release number is 337, or not 33, but 37. That's the one that I got. And I didn't have to do any iCloud authentication. But then I said, oh, don't worry, Apple's magic box turned out not true. One day after they did that. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together. You're right. Could be wrong, but I
like it.
Yeah.
Is that a coincidence?
I think not.
Coincidence? Right. I think not.
And with that, I'd like to...
No such thing as a coincidence.
I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C, where the C stands for Coincidence, Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, foots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the